Yeah, hello everybody. Welcome to the representation of North Rhine-Westphalia, and warm welcome everybody. 20 pirates in the state parliament of North Rhine-Westphalia, and this is the official representation of our state, and it's run by the state chancellery. So we are here just guests, like you, and this is our chief chairman, Joachim Paul, and he will give us an introduction. I would like you to represent, have a word to every one of us, and then you can present our work we do on a day-to-day work in the Parliament of North Rhine-Westphalia.
A bit.
A
few bits about the structure of North Rhine-Westphalia.
Okay, just one moment. We have a very ambitious agenda. So after Joachim, I hope we can hear Amelia when she arrives. Then she will present her day-to-day work to us. After that, we will hear Mark Grumpy over there. He will tell us something about our organizational structure and the interaction with our party members in Germany, in North Rhine-Westphalia. And then we will have a discussion, I hope, a discussion about how we can cooperate between Brussels and Düsseldorf, and I think that might be also very interesting for all of us. But now it's your floor, Joachim.
Also for me, a warm welcome to the North Rhine-Westphalian Pirate Party Parliament Group. I would like to introduce a few persons to you. I'm the chairman of the parliamentary group of the Pirates, Mrs. Simone Brandt, deputy chairman, elected, Mr. Dirk Schatz, involved in law and inner security. Mr. Frank Herrmann, one of our transparency agents. Thorsten Sommer, about social affairs and work. Birgit Hilewski, involved in education and training, and then it's already Grumpy, our multi-talented digital and analogous weapon. Okay, we'll have a minute. On the other side, we have this guy with the long hair, Olaf Wegner, involved in social policies. Lukas Lamla, again a deputy chairman of the parliamentary group, involved in sports, culture, media, and a lot of other things. Then, not elected, our general manager, Harald Wiese. Then again, our speaker in terms of media, Mr. Daniel Schwert. Our environmental specialist, Hans-Jörg Rohwedder. Our press agent, Ingo Schneider. Jaroslav Dimond, working on stream and a lot of technical things. Kai Schmalenbach, involved in energy and economics. Daniel Düngel, vice president of the Parliament of North Rhine-Westphalia. Every parliamentary group presents one elected vice president to manage the plenary sessions, and he's involved in youth and children and family politics and that stuff. Okay. First of all, I would like to, and Mr. Nico Kern, of course. I'm very. He's not our facility manager, but he is involved in the European Committee, European and One World Committee of the North Rhine-Westphalian Parliament, and he's the head of the committee. First of all, I would like to say sorry for my somewhat stumbling English. It has gone rusty during the years, and I hope it will get more fluent during my talk. I would like to say some general words about North Rhine-Westphalia. North Rhine-Westphalia is the biggest state of Germany, and if you cut it out of Germany, it will be the 7th biggest economy in Europe. And it will be also, of course, member of the G20. Americans always used to say North Rhine-Westphalia is your California. It's that, I'm sorry, the beaches are missing. So we also, if we speak about North Rhine-Westphalian Parliament, it's the small Bundestag, because it is elected of about 18.5 million people, and the budget of the country is about 60 billion euros. The inner structure of the North Rhine-Westphalian Parliament consists of a few groups, besides the parliamentary fractions of the... Pardon?
Is it possible to close down the lights?
Can we dim the lights a bit? You sit beside the switch.
Das geht schon mal nicht.
Okay.
Nico, du musst dich mal kümmern.
Nein, nochmal lauter.
Hab ich geklappt? Joachim, vielleicht mit seiner Hand.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. It's okay for you now? Wonderful, wonderful. This is a picture of the inner structure of the North Rhine-Westphalian Parliament. On top, we have the presidency with one president, Mrs. Carina Gödecke from the Social Democrats, and 4 other vice presidents from the other 4 parties. After the last elections, it turned out to be that the Social Democrats have become the biggest group in the parliament. The second biggest are the Christian Democrats. The third biggest are, you may say, the Greens. We say Bündnis 90 Die Grüne. The fourth biggest group is the Liberals, the Free Democrat Party of Germany, and at least with 20 members of the parliament, the Pirate Party fraction. This turned out to be the... after 4 more years, we will see how good our job was. On top, we have a Council of Elders. The Council of Elders is composed about the technical, out of the technical administration of the Parliament, the Director of the Parliament, the Presidents, and the heads of all fractions. And the operation of the Council of Elders, and the leading task is to plan the plenary sessions and to set the agenda and to make, okay, agenda is okay. By tradition, one may say that the culture of communication is consensus-based, which is not normal. We came into that, and in the beginning it was not so easy for us to arrange with this sort of culture, but if we want to make trouble, we can do it during the plenary sessions and other things, and inside the committees. Below that, we have committees, and there's another special point about North Rhine-Westphalia. These committees cover all the topics of the ministries of the government, but it's not a one-to-one coverage. For example, if we have here culture and media, the ministry is together with, where we have European and international affairs. No?
Yeah. Yeah.
Media.
Yeah.
Media. Okay, we'll come in a few seconds. Again, the laptop shut down the picture. And the proportions of the members of these committees are proportional to the members and to the member distribution of the whole parliament. For example, I will take one out. This one's mine here, Innovation, Science and Research. It covers all the 33 universities and universities of applied science in North Rhine-Westphalia. For example, another interesting thing is economic affairs, energy, industry, small companies and craft, Handwerk in Germany. This belongs also to one ministry. In the beginning, we weren't very proud of it. to see that this fits the actual political tasks. So maybe in a few years we have another structure of these topics covered by the ministries. Budget and finance, home affairs, local affairs is municipal affairs concerning all the counties and small villages and townships. And another interesting thing is your legal affairs. North Rhine-Westphalia is also a lot of things are tackled there, which has to do with inner security, with police, and we also have affairs. It's innen, no?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a special political English. We also have to learn. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this slide covers the initiatives we can take as a small group inside the Parliament to set our own topics and themes. The smallest one, the most easy to go one, is the brief inquiry, which just one of us can do. It's a question with 5 sub-questions maximum we can place to the government. And they have, by law, to answer it in about 4 weeks.
Which we don't.
The big inquiry, we have about 7 or 5 members which have to sign the inquiry. The time scale is about 3 months to answer for the government. Another interesting thing during plenary sessions are the oral questions. So this is a ping-pong game, a tabletop tennis between the members of the Parliament and one minister, for example. If there happens something concerning police or something else, we can do in a real, actual way. We can ask him sharp questions about what he has done and what he might have to do, and all that things. Next slide, please. The next bigger thing is written down. A political motion is something which we produce by idea inside the parliamentary group, inside the subgroup of the parliamentary group, a working group where also our political advisors have a lot of things to do, and we can place this on the agenda of the plenary session. For example, if we see an interesting thing is that in a lot of North Rhine-Westphalian schools, elder buildings, we found PCB, which is due to health damage, and we not only put a question, but we also put a political motion inside to carry this topic inside the Parliament, to have it discussed in an open way also for the public. A political motion is always an address to the public. So we have to take care, and there's a little fight between the parliamentary groups at what time a topic is placed in the Parliament. For example, one plenary session is about 3 days, from Wednesday 10 o'clock in the morning to 22 o'clock in the evening, or 24 o'clock we also have. The same with Thursday, and then Friday we close about 16 o'clock because most of the members would like to go to football or something else. So it is very important at what time your topic is placed. Otherwise the media has gone home already. There's a camera bridge, and we all have that stuff. The second interesting thing is a resolution or motion for a resolution. We also can present to the plenary session. Urgent motion is something on urgent topics. We can do it during the session. An amendment is something interesting. For example, if the Free Liberals doing a political motion which is rather interesting for us, and we say, oh, there are 1 or 2 points which are not okay, you can make an amendment to it and also have an election about this amendment. And the highest thing, the highest task a parliament can do is to deliver draft laws. Next slide, please. And this is the organization of our parliamentary group, which is our board. I always introduce the members to you. Our parliamentary chairman, Mrs. Monika Pieper, isn't here. She has something to do about the Geschäftsordnung, about the
rules of procedure. Rules of procedure.
About the rules of procedure. There's a meeting this afternoon in Düsseldorf. We have a deputy parliament chairman, which I forgot, which is Mr. Thorsten Sommer. Chairman, chief whip. It's mine. This is Monica, and we have policy advisors, which are employed people with special education. For example, one of these guys and women is Mr. Tom Odebrecht. He covers the European policy things and that stuff, and he's also an all-round weapon for political ideas.
Nuclear.
Yes, you are. And we have about. It's not the number of committees you saw in the first slice. It's a bit less, but about 20.
Yeah,
About 20. And every member of the parliament also has personal staff, only responsible to the single member of the group. And for example, my personal co-worker is involved in writing speeches, that stuff, or also develop ideas. We handle it between each other. We handle it rather freely. The personal staff, as well as the policy advisors, have a big meeting besides the meeting of the elected members of the parliament, where they can place ideas also and discuss them. And we, of course, have on different topics of the about 20 committees. We have 5 working groups inside our group, inside our parliamentary group, which develop all the motions. Then we have here General Manager Mr. Wieser, post-room, accounting, all that stuff. Indeed, this is to you, to pirates in general, is a rather hierarchic structure. We really try to undergo this hierarchical structure by self-responsibility for working times. We also have a Betriebsrat. In English, we will have a Betriebsrat.
It will be elected in the next weeks.
Yes, and so
Employees
Staff
council.
council, employees council, staff council.
employees council, staff council, that they can cover their own interests and rights. Of course, we think this is from real piracy. This is a Pflicht, necessity to do so, in a social way. Okay, I think this is.
In question, in
Pardon?
numbers, how many?
Huh?
In numbers.
Oh, okay. We have 20 members of the parliament and about 50 personal staff and political advisors and that stuff. We have 70 people working for the complete group.
All full time or
Not all full time. For example, for a few topics, we have additional advisors for special.
mostly full time. So like 70.
Yes,
pirates,
of course. Most of them work full time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thorsten?
We got to differentiate a bit about people working for members personally, and staff that who works for the faction in whole. We got to make a difference there a bit. So in complete, it's about 50 persons who work for us, but for the faction. I think there are 22 or something people, and 28 to 30 people are working for a member of the parliament personally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's.
And we also have additional committees. We have at least at that time two investigation committees. One on the scandals about the North Rhine-Westphalian big bank in the 90s and in the first decade of the West LB, and the second one is about irregularities concerning buildings the state owned and dealt with, selling, buying, and that stuff. There are some irregularities, and we also have a parliamentary investigation committee. And in this investigation committee, Grumpy is our member, our elected member. Tom, next slide, please. Okay, there's only one, the last one. Here we try to tell you about the workflow inside our group. there's an original idea of request placed by a member, or for example by some of the policy advisors. It is submitted to the parliamentary group meeting of the members and our general manager and press and that stuff. And we decide, no, first of all we have a work group meeting. I've told you about 5 work groups covering all the topics of the parliament. Inside this work group, this idea is worked out in a written form, then it is submitted to our group, and then the parliamentary chairman's meeting is a special meeting where Mrs. Pieper and 4 other guys from the other fractions, they deal about how to plan the next parliamentary session. This is then signed by the Committee of Elders.
This is key.
Huh?
This is key. It's the key meeting.
The key meeting of this is the key meeting where, and this is not transparent, of course. It's not streamed. Urgent motions first, for example, then first reading in the plenary. The plenary decides then to submit the political idea, the motion, to the thematic committee. The committee then discusses, also with Anhörung, with hearings and that stuff, and make a decision on that topic. Then it comes back in the next plenary session, and then you can make a choice. For example, Haushalt, budget has 3 readings, not only 2. I mean, that's all for now. If there are questions, we 20 all are open for your questions.
I would suggest we take the question afterwards. And do you want to continue with the second topic and tell us something about your daily work in the European Parliament, which is also very interesting for us to hear?
Yeah.
Your floor.
Yeah. About 15 minutes or something, or
You need slices?
Yeah. Yes, I was thinking perhaps I could use your slides. And then I can tell
It's all the same. Okay.
What the similarities and differences are. I'm a very lazy person, so I never have slides. But I mean, these ones look good, so I'm happy to use them. Anyway, my name is Christian Engström. I'm a member of the European Parliament for the Pirate Party. Yes. The European Union. Okay, I'll start with the economic size. If the European Union were a country going in the other direction, we would be the biggest economy in the world. The European Union, I mean all 27, now 28 countries taken together, the GDP, PPP adjusted, which I think is the best word, we got 21% of the world economy, the US has 20% of the world economy. I just mentioned that because very many people think that, our country, whichever country it is, including Germany, but I mean particularly a country like Sweden with 9 million people, who say, we're so small we can't stand up to the US ever. That is probably true for most member states on their own. But if we see Europe as one, if Europe were able to act as one, which we aren't really, but still, then we would be bigger than the US, and that's an important thing to remember. Every opportunity I get to say, I repeat this, the US should be our friend, not our master. And this, of course, is highly relevant when it comes to things like data protection and, indeed, intellectual property, copyright and patents. But that was an aside. Speaking about the daily work here in the European Parliament. Well, first of all, I just mentioned the 3 institutions. In proper democratic countries, Sweden, Germany, and all the other member states, you got a parliament. That parliament picks the head of government, and then that government is responsible to the parliament. Very, very straightforward. In federal systems, like in Germany, it's the same, but you got it on 2 levels, and very often you got. I mean, in Germany you got the Bundesrat, which acts as a sort of first chamber, as it's normally called. In the EU, we got the Commission, which is acts like a government. I mean, it's a Commission that has the right of initiative, and the Commission is the head of all the departments in the way a government is in a normal member state. The difference is, of course, that the Commission is not elected by the Parliament. The commissioners are picked, one from each country. They come from different political groups, and then they're supposed to work together. All commissioners have one thing in common: they're never going to stand in public elections again. So, which is very unfortunate, because that really makes a difference. I think, well, to cut to the chase immediately, I think that is a fundamental problem with the EU, that we don't have the same system of democratic accountability as we have in federal countries like Germany, or just ordinary countries like Sweden, or smaller countries like Sweden. But anyway, so we've got the Commission, government but unelected. We've got the Parliament, like a real Parliament, but it does not have the right of initiative. Normally in parliaments, if there is a majority in Parliament, yes, we want to do this piece of legislation, then the Parliament itself can say, we want to do this, and then, because we have a majority, we do it. The European Parliament can't do that. And then, of course, the third institution is the Council of Ministers. If Europe had been federal, it would have been similar to the Bundesrat, but it's not really. And I mean, the Commission, not democratically. Okay. Of course, they have some democratic legitimacy because democratic governments pick the commissioners, but you can't vote against the Commission if you're unhappy with it. And the Commission is very intransparent. What goes on there goes on behind closed doors. Council of Ministers, I would say, even worse. Very, very secret. And again, of course, they have democratic legitimacy from each member state. But since they conduct all the business in outside public scrutiny, they very often are a big problem. So when I'm explaining the three institutions to visitors group, to Pirate visitors group, I compare it with the Lord of the Rings, to say that the Council is Mordor, the Commission is Isengard, and the Parliament is the battlefield outside Minas Tirith. Now, this is obviously an exaggeration. The Council is not quite Mordor, and in some cases they're actually the good guys. When it comes to restricting how much money the EU will spend, it's the Council that says no, and every other piece of the EU apparatus wants more money. So, but very often, if it's a controversial issue, the Council will tend to be on the wrong side, the side of the lobbyists. So, yeah, even if it's an exaggeration, it's not entirely unfair. The Commission, quite similar to Isengard, because many of the people who work at the Commission, they truly are wizards, people with double doctorates who speak 7 languages, etc. And when they're brought into the Commission, they're always brought in at a young age, sort of when they finish their studies. They become a part of this culture, and when they start out, I think they all have this idea that we are technicians. We're above the political stupidities. We really want to do good things in a rational way. But unfortunately, if you want to get along inside the Commission, you have to be like everybody else. I mean, that's the way we all work as humans, and that's how it works there. And if you want to get ahead, you need to get things done. And if you want to get things done, you have to be on the same side as industry, as the lobbyist for industry. So after a couple of years, varies of course with different people within the Commission, they will tend to sort of go to the dark side. Not all of them, but unfortunately very many.
Sith Lords.
Yes. And then the last one, the Parliament. I mean, as a parliamentarian, I would love to say that the Parliament is always good, is always right. That would be not at all true. But at least it is like a battlefield. I mean, you can see what's happening. You can see who's voting for, who's voting against. etc. So, and at least it's not as open as we pirates would want. There are always things to improve. But compared to the two other institutions, the Parliament is much, much more open. So, that's the general framework. Then, to move on to the Parliament, here as well, we have a consensus culture. And I would say, for us as pirates, that's a very good thing, because after all, me and Amelia, we're the only two pirates. There are 754 members of the Parliament, with two, that is 0.27%, which is not enough to form a majority. But still, we can make a difference, because the culture here is that you actually talk to each other in the committees. I would say when I came here in 2009, that's the thing that really surprised me the most. And that's the greatest thing, I would say, about being an elected member of a parliament, that they start to listen to you. I mean, I'm saying exactly the same things now as I was saying in 2009, as I was saying in 2004 when I started as an activist against the Software Patents Directive together with the FFII. So I've been saying the same things all along. I perhaps become slightly more radical because I'm running out of patience. But apart from that, the same thing. The difference, I mean, when you're an activist and you get an opportunity to speak, you say your thing, and then you sort of sense that everybody in the room, they'll give you some polite applause, but then, okay, throw him out on the street again so that we can get down to business. It's sort of the feeling you have as an activist. When you're a member of a parliament, I would say, because but okay, I'll only speak for the European Parliament. It's really a big difference that they actually start listening. They probably won't agree with you, but at least the fact that they listen is a big step forward. And in this consensus culture, it's possible to do good things on various things. We're coming up towards elections in 2014, and in Sweden, our aim is to get re-elected for the first time. To get re-elected for the first time is something different from getting elected, because when you stand the first time, you can say, "We knew, we're going to change everything," and hopefully people will believe you, and then they'll vote for you. But the second time around, you can't just say, "We knew we're going to change everything," because you're not really that new anymore. Then you have to answer the question, so okay, what have you achieved? And the good thing is, we can answer that question. We can say, we stopped ACTA, because that is absolutely true. It was the pirate movement in Europe that stopped ACTA, and the fact that me and Amelia were inside the European Parliament, that was significant. I don't know if anybody except me has seen the Disney film Mulan. Anyway, in one scene the Emperor says that the outcome of this war, it could be down to one individual soldier, down to one individual grain of rice, whether we win or lose. And for the ACTA thing, I could say the Pirate Party, we were that grain of rice. We started working on ACTA almost immediately when we came in 2009. Inside the Green Group, both Amelia and I are independent members of the Green Group. The Greens were, I mean, they agreed with us from the start, but we were able to bring much more focus to it. And then it continued, and there were a number of occasions in the ACTA struggle where I can say it was so very, very close. So if we hadn't been that grain of rice, it would have tipped the other way. In ACTA, most of the time it looked completely hopeless. We had, well, like I said, me and Amelia, 0.27%, but with the Green Group, 7%. The Left Group, they're not very interested in information policy, but they tend to follow the Greens, and then some other people. So around 15% wanted to stop ACTA. Better than 0.3, but still a long way off from 51, which is what you need in a democracy. But then what happened was, there were the SOPA PIPA things in the US, that energy spilled over to ACTA here, which led to the huge demonstrations in Poland in January 2012, which were followed a week or two later by demonstrations in Germany and Sweden and lots of other countries. That's what really made the difference. I mean, as an ordinary citizen, it's very easy to get the feeling it doesn't matter what I do, it's going to be decided anyway. Nothing could be more wrong. It really makes a difference when citizens take to the streets, when citizens email their MEPs. That's what happened with ACTA, that's why we won. So that's sort of the big victory. But in addition to that, we've got lots of sort of minor dossiers. I mean we're talking all the time about things like net neutrality or doing small things, not copyright reform. I mean, proper copyright reform, we don't have a majority for that in the Parliament this term. I think we may be able to get it next term, but I may get back to that. But anyway, we're doing small things. We did a directive on orphan works, making it legal for libraries to digitize old works. Unfortunately, that directive says that it's legal for them to digitize, but if a right holder reappears, they will have to pay damages, and it's up to the member states to decide what those damages are going to be. Depending on how that's implemented in the member states, this may or may not be useful, but at least we tried to do something on it. I'm working right now on a directive on collective rights management. It's the organizations like STIM in Sweden, like GEMA in Germany. These organizations collect loads of money, and then they distribute a lot of it to rights holders, I mean authors and artists. But not everything. They keep quite a lot for their internal administration and for their own pet projects that they're really fond of. The Commission did before it came up with this proposal, it did an impact assessment. I think it said in that one that the collecting societies all over Europe are together withholding, they have 5.7 billion euros that they have collected but not distributed, at least not yet. I mean, they may be planning to distribute it, but they haven't done it yet. 5.7 billion, that is a lot of money. It would be, for instance, it would be enough to bail out Cyprus. I'm not suggesting they should, but it illustrates. That's what I'm one thing that I'm working on now. What I'm hoping to do with this one is to bring more transparency, more accountability. I mean, they're handling other people's money. It's a disgrace that it's not done in a transparent way. And on this one, I mean, it's a far way off from copyright reform. Yes, it's a small technical dossier. Yes, but in this case, this consensus culture works in a positive way because. Again, they listen to us, even if we're pirates. So it's hopefully possible to push it a little bit in the right direction. We'll see how it comes out. But anyway, so okay. How many minutes?
Just we're running a little bit out of time, but if you want to have another 2 or 3 minutes, it's okay.
I'll do. I promise I do the slides. So I'll do the slides in 2 or 3 minutes. Committees. Same thing here in the European Parliament. We've got some 30 something committees. Very, very similar. I'm on let's see, legal affairs. And on, I think, legal affairs, jury. All committees in the EU have 4-letter abbreviations, and if you're in Brussels, that's the only name you ever use. Jury, legal affairs, and I'm on IMCO, which is internal market and consumer affairs. I would guess it's similar to that, but I don't actually know. Amelia is on ITRE, Innovation, Science and Research, and Energy as well. She's on INTA, which is International Trade. I don't know if you have that. And on CONT, which is Budget Control. Those are the committees. So next slide, please. Here too we have different things we can do as member of the Parliament. The smallest and easiest one is a written question. We can direct written questions either to the Commission or to the Council. The Commission or the Council have to respond within 6 weeks or within 3 weeks if it's a priority question. This is quite fun. A quite fun instrument to use it. You write a question that is polite on the surface, but really impolite in the substance. That's the way it's always done. And then 6 or possibly 3 weeks later, you will get an answer from the Commission saying blah blah with absolutely no content at all. Fun, but okay. Some limitations to the value. We can also have oral questions, which are sort of bigger. The written questions, any MEP can do that without. There are limitations. You can only do 1 priority question a month, and I think you're only allowed to do 1 ordinary question a day. But apart from that, no restrictions. Then the political groups, which correspond to political parties in a country. But here, each political group is of course collected from different parties in different member states. The political groups can make oral questions with a debate after that. That's something bigger than you talk about in plenary. We've got urgent motions or urgencies. That's when some government in a corrupt country commits atrocities and does bad things. Then we pass a resolution saying that was a very bad thing you did, etc. Of course, we write when we say these resolutions. Do they change anything on the ground? I can't really say, but we do them anyway. That's mostly handled by the groups, and since we're members of the Green Group, the Greens are they're absolutely stable when it comes to defending fundamental rights. There is no risk that they would accidentally say it's okay to expel all Romas, or it's fine that we drown people in the Mediterranean when they're trying to flee to Europe. Some of the other groups are not quite as consistent, but at least the Greens are very good there, so we can depend on them, which is a good thing. But then, these are sort of the side activities. The big activities are 2 kinds of proposals. Own initiative reports, which actually are started by the Parliament itself. A group, I think it is a group, or the majority in the Parliament can say that we want to take a resolution on this particular subject. It's not going to be legislative, but it's going to express our opinion. That's very often one of the early steps leading to legislation. So they're not unimportant, although they're not legislative. And they will very often come in response to the Commission will make a communication saying we have been looking at this and thinking about this, and then the Parliament will respond with a resolution to that communication saying yes, that's a good thing, but you should think about this, and that may in turn lead to the Commission proposing legislation. But then of course legislation is the big thing. The initiative always comes from the Commission. They present a draft proposal for either a directive or a regulation. Regulations are real laws. They go into effect immediately once they have been passed. Directives are not laws in themselves. They're instructions to all the member states. You member states should legislate in this way. But that, of course, leaves some leeway for the member states to adapt it to local, to local things. Most of the things are directives. That's the more common one. But for greater harmonization, of course, regulations. So that's what we do. And amendments. That is really the bread and butter of work in the European Parliament. That's sort of what we do. This applies to both the INI reports, the own initiative reports. Then there are a number of articles in them, and we can submit amendments on each of those articles, either changing the article or deleting it or adding new articles. We still have to be within the scope of the general. We can't take something and make it into something completely different. Like, for instance, I tabled an amendment in jury. There was a report on combating piracy and pirated goods. They meant counterfeit goods, but they used the word pirated goods. And I had been for quite a while then saying that, look, with the Legal Affairs Committee we shouldn't be using kindergarten language piracy is not a legal term. Please use proper words. So on that one, I actually tabled one amendment changing the definition of pirated goods from whatever it was, saying counterfeit goods, saying pirated goods is defined as goods that have been acquired in contradiction of the laws of the sea, and gave the exact reference. That was a clearly inadmissible amendment because it completely changed the scope of that report. The jury secretariat let it slip through anyway, because I was in fact making a political point. Unfortunately, I must say it was voted down, so the report did stay on topic and be about counterfeit goods. So, yes, anyway, that's what we do in the European Parliament. And next slide, please. To finish up, me and Amelia, members, each of us get a budget that allows us to employ about 3-4 people as personal assistants. In addition to that, we got the group, the political group, the Greens. They have this, policy advisors and general staff. And I must say, although we're not Greens, I think the cooperation with the Green Group has worked excellently. I haven't really experienced any problems at all. So that's a good thing. And this political staff in the European Parliament, it's absolutely essential to have those political advisors, because things in the European Parliament and in the EU in general are incredibly complex. So unless you have these old veterans that really know, first of all, know the rules, and then know whether they're going to be applied or not. You need those experts, otherwise you're just dead in the water. But like I said, it's worked well to be together with the Greens, and they have that expertise, so that's been working fine. And
if you want to experience a difference when Greens don't work fine in that case, you're free to visit us every time in Düsseldorf. They're completely different.
Yes, I would like to say for all of you, the doors in Düsseldorf are always open for you.
And there you can see how Greens treat their former moral things.
I can imagine, although I of course don't know.
In North Rhine-Westphalia, they're a bit more conservative.
Yeah, it's okay. That was the last slide, wasn't it? So with just a major overdraft, I think I'll stop there for the time being.
Thank you very much, Christian, for your insightful and somewhat encouraging talk. I just can emphasize it's very important to have pirates in the parliament to scrutinize the government. And now I also like to welcome Amelia. Thanks you could manage to join us here. Warm welcome.
I'm sorry for being late. We had a meeting which was scheduled on Friday afternoon, and it was after we had planned for this meeting to occur, and I had to attend that meeting for, it was one of those meetings where we needed to go.
Okay, no problem. I think you can give us also some insightful suggestions on the fourth topic, agenda point, when we come to the discussion about the cooperation between Brussels and Düsseldorf, and when you have your turn on that issue. Yeah. And, okay, we are a little bit behind the
technical problems.
Okay. So we'll wait
Are you
some.
the old man from Twitter?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
I didn't expect to have an analog signal.
It's not Twitter, it's
A little after
2 minutes.
Then I would suggest that maybe Amelia can make give us a short talk about her views on the European Parliament. Would what you like, so we can bridge this
So,
technical problems.
To number 4. Yeah, we should. I think
Yeah?
jump straight.
Okay, then, yeah, but maybe it's
How much longer?
maybe it's useful to hear your talk before to know how we work in North Rhine-Westphalia, and then go to the discussion how we can better cooperate. But yeah, maybe we can take some questions from you. Just feel free. Yeah.
Invitation and questions, so I'll be very quickly. I immediately want to take the opportunity to invite you tomorrow at the European Parliament. We're organizing a crypto party in cooperation with Amelia. I saw TrueCrypt and was the other one, the Tor browser on the laptop over there. So obviously some of you guys know what I'm talking about, but we could definitely use some cryptography geeks and people that just want to learn how to use it. But really, my question was, one of the things that Germany is the German Pirate Party is a little bit known for is direct democracy, I think especially in Berlin. But I was kind of wondering how that works into your
I think that will surely be a...
Put it in.
Yeah.
In 2 sentences.
Okay.
So, okay, because
Here we go.
as older as politicians get, as more time they do take. I will do it as fast and as short as possible and as painful as possible. So we just have the whole German-wide Piraten with 16 states with regional associations of all pirates in all federal states. Directly elected for all states are Schleswig-Holstein with 6, Berlin with 15, NRW with 20, and the Saarland with 4 pirates. And much more from the bases up directly into the towns, the town councils, and so on. We have already 147 pirates placed within the whole Germany. And to make it a little bit more graphically better, I just hopefully so our heads are. Where are they? So for Europe, on our main board of the German Pirate Party, forget all those other people, but this guy up here, Markus Barenhoff, he's called Alias. He's definitely the person we want to use, we want to connect to talk to for upcoming EU Wallet for 2014. So, I can see anything. Could someone... Where's this beamer? Fuck. I hate it. So back to the countryside. So here you can see one more short view. As I already said, we have had in Schleswig-Holstein 6 seats. And those numbers, 8.2, 8.9, 7.8 and 7.4. You remember the number of percent you have had in the last EU elections. It was about
7.1.
7.1. So if we compare that to our last German elections, we have had about 0.9. And if we compare that to our last Riksdagswahl, it was 2010, it was also, I think, 0.9.
0.7.
0.7?
Yes.
Oh, wow, okay. Much better then.
No. 0.7.
0.
So not very impressive at all.
Even worse, yeah, okay, sorry. And so if we want to connect the bases, so I've just kicked one... No, I've just lost one chart.
That's your first time with a notebook, yes?
No, it's my. I really do hate it at the moment because I cannot see my. Yeah.
Ist das Neuland für dich?
You know about that joke?
It's Neuland.
Our Chancellor Merkel, a few days when Obama visited Berlin, was speaking about new land. The internet is new land.
Territory.
Neuland is
And that's why
A
we
leading
surveil
meme
it.
in Germany.
Yeah, okay.
That's why we need surveillance, because
Yes.
Exactly.
So, the main idea we at the moment in North Rhine-Westphalia, because it's not about us, but it's about the people. If we want to have a little bit more and maybe a little bit more invention on democracy, like direct democracy. So we have our elected pirates, and then we have our main base. That's our power. It's the people. So even if we get it one step further, we could say everyone in North Rhine-Westphalia is able to contact us and or even directly suggest something, a problem that we could put into Parliament of North Rhine-Westphalia directly. So we've built a small wiki script, as the wiki is definitely the soup of the German Pirate Party. I mean, even Anonymous uses it. Someone just copied those prism foils into the German wiki. So the wiki is the main soup where everything comes together, and sometimes even you cannot find it back again. But so if the next problem is how can we better communicate? I mean, nowadays everyone uses Twitter. I'm one of those simple old people. I loved to use Twitter until WikiLeaks. That was the point when on Iceland, Birgitta Jónsdóttir got the information that Twitter got asked by the American government to give out all her direct messages to the government of the United States. That was the point when I said, oh, I should say fuck Twitter. And the same with fuck Facebook. So I'm one of those pirates who's only on alternatives, free alternatives like Identica, decentralized networks. I'm more one of those guys who say we have to get a little bit more undercover. And by the way, there's this old IRC stuff. So if we want to connect everyone within Europe, I think the new Pirate IRC network, reachable from every country worldwide, could be maybe a good alternative to connect the upcoming all pirates the upcoming years. As we have one real big problem at the moment, which is it's not only PRISM anymore; it's even nearer. It's from the from Great Britain. It's our Pandora's box.
Sweden, our FRA establishment, is a direct supplier to the NSA anyway. So we do our share.
Yeah, and in Germany, the Neuland, as the internet is a new land. No one knows about it. I do miss something here because this anti-PRISM EU pirate project has just started. I do miss Sweden. Maybe we could get this short translation within maybe for tomorrow of this short text about whistleblowing and human rights. If we're talking about our kind of politics on EU level, it's about data protection, whistleblowing, and human rights. Besides this copyright stuff. So. For better democracy effects to involve more people, it is the idea of liquid democracy, of a variable delegating system, so everyone can delegate his personal vote for internal processes of the pirates to every other pirate within the whole party system.
But you don't use it for actual political work.
In North Rhine-Westphalia, we do have an instance of liquid feedback. It is possible for North Rhine-Westphalian pirates to issue something and to bring it in. And not only for our 20, but also for the whole Pirates of North Rhine-Westphalia. So every twice a year we do our meetings and declare our positions and vote for our positions internally.
In addition, we drive a political motions workbench at the front end of the website of the party in North Rhine-Westphalia, so they can place their ideas there, and we, as lawyers of the ideas, bring them in the parliament.
So, but if you make a proposition yourself, do you submit it to your own liquid feedback system, or you don't? You do.
Sometimes because liquid feedback needs time.
Yeah.
But in work, in process, there are really, we cannot always say we don't have found a position yet. So we could say not yes, not no, maybe. So sometimes we really have to act faster. Not every time, but sometimes. So, and that's the point where I say it would be great to get from you all those ideas of how we could build up a better direct communication system for our work between the younger pirates of all countries, because the young pirates are always those who still could kick asses. The older ones, like us, are already in position, and maybe we forgot the voices of the younger ones. So if you have any kind of idea, you're welcome.
I think this is one basic problem, and will be also a basic problem of the Pirate Party in general in the future, if lots of us hopefully enter the parliaments. The parliament time schedule is pressing on diverse topics, and you as a parliamentary group have to react most of the time without having any resolution from the party. Lots of things you can cover by derivation from the party program, lots of things. But there are always a few where you have to do it in the first place on your own, and then getting your legalization by, for example, by a party resolution or whatever. No? This will be really a problem, and we have to solve it maybe by software or something else for basic democracy. Otherwise, it won't work.
Yeah, I'm already. I finished about 2 minutes, 3 minutes ago. I just wanted to go directly into free discussion.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Mark. Okay. I think we will now go on to the fourth agenda point and enter the discussion about the cooperation between your MPs, the European Parliament, with us in the North Rhine-Westphalian State Parliament. It is scheduled to last to around about 6 o'clock, and then some of us will, or we can go and go to the informal part and have some drinks and some snacks, and then discuss some questions on the one-to-one, face-to-face situation. And I think some of us then will have to leave and catch the last train to back to Cologne. But that's up to everyone. And yeah. Okay, I think it's fair to have Amelia now have a say and to show us your views on your work and maybe how you want to cooperate with us and what we can do to support maybe your work or give your work more power to.
Okay.
So,
do I need to stand up or?
As you like. It's loud enough for. Can everybody hear Amelia?
Or is there anyone who particularly wants to see me?
Of course, yes.
Just go up there.
So, so luckily I have a few concrete examples of how we have successfully collaborated with German pirates in the last year. So, in the first step, of course, Julia Reda was doing an internship at our office last year for about 2 or 3 months. I think that was very good and useful because it brought in perspectives from the German domestic debates and the German Pirate Party, which allowed us also to shape a view of the issues we were dealing with, not only from our bias from Sweden, but also actually taking into account processes that were already ongoing. This had a result in that we were able to collaborate with Martin Klim from Frankfurt, I guess. And he helped us out on the public sector information dossier from the European Commission, where it turned out that luckily Frankfurt has a lot of public sector information and open data projects that he was able to display also to fellow members of our community from the perspective of a local region in a concrete member state, which is something that we were actually lacking at the time, and where Martin Klim turned out to be a very good help with good examples of what could happen if one makes a good strategy also at the EU level. Just recently, actually, for the PRISM, when that scandal first broke, I received an email from Patrick Breyer in Schleswig-Holstein about calling for the reinstitution of a temporary committee in the European Parliament to investigate how we can deal with these problems when foreign intelligence agencies are basically surveilling European citizens against their consent and without it being directly in the interest of us. And so apparently the European Parliament has already had such a temporary committee back in 1999, but of course not everybody can keep track of that, and Patrick Breyer did, and that enabled us to issue a press release on the same topic in Sweden, which then makes our policies kind of united among the member states. We're calling for the same things. And I guess that the Schleswig-Holstein initiative was able to reverberate in the European Parliament because we could call for this committee also in the European Parliament as Pirates. And so I see a lot of potential in information exchanges and experience exchanges between different entities in the parties. This is essentially helpful for us when we're in the European Parliament. Very often when you're in the European Parliament, you also face colleagues that come from other member states that have very particular concerns on some dossiers. Being able to have a useful collaboration then with the pirate parties that are active locally in those member states might actually provide you with a base for understanding what it is that your colleagues are so worried about, even if you yourself cannot imagine really what the big fuss is about. And so the question is, how do you ensure that this useful exchange actually happens? And this is a bit more tricky, in my view, since very often the issues that are dealt with at the local or regional level in, for instance, North Rhine-Westphalia and in the European Parliament will be completely out of phase. So when we're discussing transparency, North Rhine-Westphalia will be discussing something completely different and the other way around. And so it's difficult to anticipate when you can provide help and useful experience to one another. And here, any solutions for more effective information exchanges would actually be very welcome. I think if the German Pirate Party manages to ultimately get elected next year in the elections, it will be, of course, easier for us to have this exchange of views between the member states, because it feels like ultimately we're kind of facing the same problems everywhere in the Union. And also in the European Parliament, like if you look at what you would be dealing with at the local level in information and communications technologies and the policies around that, it's not so different from the problems that we face at the European level. I don't know if I have so much more things to add on that from a speech perspective. It's been very useful for us to collaborate with the German Pirate Party when it has been happening over the last year. Those have been very valuable experiences for us, and they've also brought concrete things into our policy work. I don't have any good examples of when the reverse has happened, unfortunately, so maybe we haven't been so helpful to local Germans or local German elected representatives as we could have hoped to be, at least not from the policy perspective. But I know that we've already listed some of the topics for the next point on the agenda, point 5, where we believe that there could be common action for us. So I don't know if I don't know if I should be speaking about the transparency in Sweden first, a bit also, because I think this is a very particular situation which is different from the German one. And we're currently, because of open data projects in Sweden, actually going to be revising our public transparency legislation. And so this is going to be a bit dramatic. In Germany, of course, you have since a long time that you pick personal information away from public registries. You don't keep databases of your entire population because it's seen as a violation of privacy rights. And I guess I heard Fabio Reinhardt from Berlin mention also that there's no public registry of telephone numbers on the internet, which is unlike the situation we have in Sweden, where you can easily look up any individual on the internet with their address and phone number and name, and sometimes even family members or profession. In Sweden, these publications of personal identifiers are protected under the freedom of speech law. And so they basically avoid any attempt also by individuals to rectify or get their information removed if they are included in the registry against their will, unless the government has provided the individual with a protected identity, in which case the government can force even an entity protected by freedom of press laws to remove the identity. And so that is a completely different foundation for how transparency should work. We also have public databases of verdicts from courts, where names of witnesses and accused people and ultimately the verdicts are published. And so that, of course, provides a bit of a scary possibility for data mining. If you think about automatic machine learning and collection of information about former convicts and how you can then process and profile maybe entire societies and communities. And my perfect fear about this is that if you've been convicted once in your 20s and you move into a new area and all of your neighbors start getting advertisements for better security alarms, that could mean that ultimately, because of machine learning, you end up decreasing the general security and trust levels of your community merely by being located in that community. And that could be unfair, I think, to expose an individual to this if they made one small mistake in their early 20s, or even if they made a small mistake much later in their lives. And so we'll be dealing with that process of maybe removing some of the transparency from our public documentation within the next year. Alternatively, we'll make large online databases with very personal information about our citizens and their interactions with public authorities. It could go a bit either way, because we don't have a very strong debate in Sweden about what automatic machine learning means. And I think in Germany you're more or less facing like the opposite debate, maybe, that you don't have enough transparency. And so that would be very interesting to hear German perspectives on how there could be a synthesis between those two outlying extremes. Because I think in Germany you've had problems also with having stuff kept secret, like who receives agricultural funds, for instance, because it is seen as an unnecessary disclosure of personal data. And there's clearly some transparency balance there, which needs to be shifted in both of the countries, but where we're probably today unlikely to go somewhere more reasonable than what we have now. Was that sufficient? Does anyone have any questions on the Swedish transparency that is not from Sweden?
It sounds very interesting what you were just saying, because it's wrong. We have a public telephone register in Germany. It's open. You can see it. It's not hidden as you. I don't know what Fabio was telling you, because you can look at every telephone number in the internet in Germany too, like you can do it in Sweden. And yeah, you have telephone books. I can send you the.
You can be removed from it.
Yeah, you can be removed.
Yeah, this one you can't be removed.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, then I did get that wrong. What we have in Germany are many hidden registers. Like Schufa, for example. What's the best description? credit
personal level.
scoring register. So this is hidden. This is only contactable by certain organizations like banks and so on. So this is a problem. And I should talk about the transparency bill, no? What we do in Germany now. Everybody is knowing the Freedom of Information Act, I think, yeah. In Europe, not all countries, I think, in Europe have a Freedom of Information Act, but most of them. And with the transparency bill, we want to change the right to ask, which is Freedom of Information Act, into the duty to publish for government, that everything what's not personal identifiable information or maybe trade secrets has to be published by the government. Yeah, this is we have to talk about these things. This is the limits should be this would lead to most discussions, I think. What is a trade secret and what is personal information? We expect tough discussions for that, for sure. But we have one example already in Germany. It's in Hamburg. The state of Hamburg has this law already in place. But Hamburg is a city. It's not big as North Rhine-Westphalia. North Rhine-Westphalia has a structure, I would say, a little like the EU, where you have
regions.
Yeah, you have regions. They can do their own laws, kind of. So we will have we got the first reading of the law last week. So we're in an early stage now. We will have big discussions how we can force this transparency also for the regions, for the cities, that they have to be as transparent as the state itself. So this will be we'll have a lot of talking about that. Most the opposition, the other parties, talking about costs. This is the main thing. The main argument they put against the transparency bill because it costs too much. This is very funny, I think. And we'll see how it's going further when we talk about this in the committees the next month.
Would you answer on that, or take further questions?
It's funny actually, because in Sweden we publish names of private persons who've been convicted of crimes and felonies in a big database on the internet. But if you look at market verdicts, we do remove names of people who represent companies, as well as sensitive information about the companies that participated in the verdict. And so we have a relatively higher degree of protection for the entities in Sweden that can afford to get their names or information removed from court verdicts than for entities that are essentially very weak and that cannot protect really their privacy or their information in those circumstances. So this is a problem, of course, that we have also. We don't have any Freedom of Information Acts because it is assumed that the public will be transparent. It's been a problem at the municipal level that individual members of the administrative part of local councils don't want to disclose information because it has personal data in it, and they are afraid of being persecuted or bullied on the web. Is a very common concern now, especially since many web services are protected only with a password. You can easily see how a particularly agitated citizen could wreak quite a bit of havoc actually on the life of an administrative person at municipal level, and even if that person has been idiotic, I think that that is not a proportionate punishment, and also citizens should not be exerting punishments randomly on publicly elected officials. And so that has been a concern in Sweden that I guess we would have to deal with now that we're digitalizing all of our public archives. But the question for us is, of course, where we will go with that. Fundamentally, it will be about how we treat this new land of the internet, whether or not we see a completely automated space of databases and machine learning as something that needs to be treated differently from a paper archive, which is geographically restricted and restricted in terms of access from that and the ability to automate data collection from it also, or if we will not see that as a different thing at all. And currently it seems a bit more like we're going towards the other direction of not seeing any difference between the internet and the paper world, which I think is partially a misjudgment on our behalf, but what you can do. So the question is how we could collaborate on this, I guess. And so I know that
I think it's very important for us to translate what we do in English, that you can read it, for example.
This will be one of our next
It's a very
steps.
small thing,
Try
but
to
helpful, I think.
try to make sure that our work
Julia, will you translate
gets
everything?
more transparent and gets more publicity. But just to let you get to know what we are doing, but also the other pirates all over Europe, in best case. But as we have the honor to have two pirate MPs of the European Parliament here, maybe one of my colleagues want to ask some question to those two. Concrete? Yeah.
Well,
of course, you can also.
I'm not one of
discussion.
your colleagues from North Rhine-Westphalia. My name is Matthias. I work with Amelia in her office. So I wanted to jump back onto number 4 because I think that is something we should always have in the back of our heads. How can we cooperate? And something that you need to know is that we are extremely understaffed. We are, as Christian said, we're two pirates in the European Parliament. But what we do have is access everywhere. We can basically ask any question we want from the Council. We can ask it from the Commission. That means that we can ask any question you want from the Council and what that you want from the Commission. If you have the time to look into a topic that is relevant at the EU level, we have the access to the bureaucracy and to the political institutions in Brussels. If you want to find out if the EU has ever done any research on a topic you're working with, you can contact us. We can use the parliamentary library researchers to make a briefing on your topic. Basically, has the Commission ever investigated this topic, so that you can use that information in your political work. We cannot. So we have all the access, but we don't have the time to do this ourselves. So you will need to know what to look for and when to ask us. But if you do that, if you keep in mind that you have access to everything within the EU systems here in Brussels, I think that could be very useful for you in your political activities. Because we can get numbers, we can get... if there's something going on here which covers your topics, because, I mean, EU will discuss everything. Everything you ever worked with, the EU will discuss it, and then they will legislate, and whatever you were working with will be scrapped because there was an EU regulation replacing it. Then you can take part in the process here as well. We can send you as representatives from our office, even if you're not working there, because we can send basically whoever we want anywhere to any meeting. So that would be concrete examples where we can assist you. But we will not be able to know when the right time to do that is, because you're only writing in German. So you could help us by writing in English.
Of course.
Or actually, maybe because we're also understaffed, you will want to identify the proper situations to write in English first. Yeah.
So. Okay.
Anything more about transparency? Because I have to leave. I got the early train at 20 minutes past 6, so we'll leave now. Sorry? Okay.
So okay, then I would suggest we have an open discussion and take a question from all of you guys.
Feel free.
Feel free. And another
topic. I want to sort of broach a new topic, maybe. Of course, you guys are all elected already. You laughed about it a little bit. The fact that there's Sweden and Germany, and then, well, little else. But obviously, in the long run, this is a bit of it's a problem, and it's also an opportunity, right? Because if you're going to work on the European level, then we need more MEPs, not just from Sweden, but from a lot of countries. So I think an obvious question is how to collaborate on that level towards elections. I know it's not really a classic thing to do, but you know, to me it seems like there could be a lot of learning. That'd be the easiest thing, and obviously, like almost direct help. Maybe not financial, but it could be people. We could definitely use help, for instance, in Belgium. But I'm sure that there's plenty of countries that could use professional political help to get people elected. I don't know what if anybody thinks anything about that.
Do you want to answer?
I have opinions on everything, fortunately. I think you should see this as a call for free assistance. You have the fortune of being a border state. That means that you have pirates just across the border with nothing to do this fall. While you are all busy doing parliamentary stuff, the state of North Rhine-Westphalia will still be part of the federal elections, and it will be a crucial state. So basically you will have to get a good result, and that is not only on the formal party of NRW, it will also be on your heads. So you can use your contacts, which would be us and other pirate parties outside of Germany, to bring in people to help you with the day-to-day activities during the elections. Corporations, EU election corporations will never be built from above. The pirate parties have tried it and sort of not getting very far with it. If we want cooperation, we need it from under. We need to have individual pirates crossing the borders, helping out in elections in different countries, bringing back ideas, bringing back connections and knowledge, and then eventually bringing back the people for another election in the neighboring country later on. And as you're a bordering country with Belgium, who have a lot of pirates, with nothing to do in is it October, November? I think you should take that opportunity to invite the Belgians.
And in the spring we have the mother of all elections. We have regional, federal and European elections at the same time. So this is make or break in Belgium, and not a lot of people realize it.
Okay.
But yeah, and I think if I look at this, this is what our GA looks like at the moment in the number of people. So we're babies in compared to an organization like the German Pirate Party. But I do think we have an opportunity, and I do think we have chances. So there's, you know, in the long run, of course, it's going to help everyone. That's the point.
I think Thorsten wants to
I got a similar situation in North Rhine-Westphalia. Next year we also have vote for the
local elections,
for the city parliaments.
Local elections.
Well, with the European election, so it's quite similar to the situation here in Belgium, and we don't have the federal in the next year. We do have these elections in September, but I think for the city parliaments, it's also very important for the pirates in North Rhine-Westphalia to get seats in the important cities. We got 11 big cities in North Rhine-Westphalia, and the pirates in those cities are very keen on getting in those city parliaments, and for some of them it's even more important to get into these state or city parliaments than to be in the federal Bundestag. So and with that, and we don't have any 5% something to get into the into those parliaments. So we'll have a lot of people then in stage who will work the next. How long will the period be?
5 years.
Is it again 5 years? They wanted to change it.
Okay. I'm not sure, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, something. And so we now have 6,000 pirates in North Rhine-Westphalia, and even if we are just getting a not that good result, about 2 or 3% or whatever, we would have about 500, 800 seats or something. Yeah, so that's a really, really big thing where we can get people into political work and steady political work for the next 4 to 5 years. So it's very important,
Do you
even
have
to us.
an election committee or an organization like that? People that are purely doing election preparation? And this is a question for Sweden as well, I guess. Is there like a subgroup? I don't know.
Yeah. In North Rhine-Westphalia, we're just building it. It's called PICO. It's making fun out of it. First, we had two Vereine parties, not parties, associations trying to struggle who got the best concept and things. And actually, they're going to be united in the next weeks. So we got just one association for that. And the good thing is this association can do kind of rhetorical school things, and to school people who want to really be in that city parliaments to get there. And the good thing, we got money from the taxpayers for that. So we get an amount of a maximum 150,000 euros per year for that. We got to have our own money with that to get taxpayers' money. So we won't get that big amount of 150,000 for that per year. But so we got a good ground level of financing, and we're starting about right now with that. So I think in the next weeks it will be quite cool to run that.
From Julia.
Yes, what I think we should do, this has been suggested before, and maybe some cities have already tried it, I don't know, is to have city partnerships between Belgium and North Rhine-Westphalia. So Belgian pirates come to Germany during the federal election. Some of them even speak German. There's a German-speaking community in Belgium, and help with posters and all that stuff. And then some pirates from North Rhine-Westphalia, I think, should also come to Belgium before the elections, even though there are state elections. I think it's important to not just look at this as hours of work lost in North Rhine-Westphalia because people are elsewhere, because me having been in Brussels for several months, I think this is also a motivating experience. I think for a lot of people, going to a different country with like a car full of pirates and doing some campaigning there is actually very motivating, and they might even do more work for the German Pirate Party once they come back. So if you have a particularly active Kreisverband, like a local community, you should talk to them and like bring them in direct contact, for example, with the pirates in Brussels. And I think this is mutually beneficial if they come to Germany for the federal elections and we go there for the European elections, because we really do have a lot more resources.
In the past we had to experience some difficulties in contacting pirates across the border. Maybe Netherlands or Belgium. But maybe in the future we can make better contact and make sure that the cooperation will do better. I think Aix-Chapelle, Aachen
would be a very good point to start from, because they are very close to the border, and they in the past they tried and they made some attempts to cooperate and to offer their help, but yeah, there were some difficulties. I'm not sure about what exactly went wrong, but I think that we should work on this to make it better in the future. You had a raised hand?
I can always speak. I would stress the things that Julia is saying. I think it also will, at least most pirate parties, and I think the Germans as well, promote the idea that the pirate movement is a transnational movement. That idea will have a much more credibility when you're on the street talking, when you were last week helping out in another country with their elections, even if it's in the same time. And I also think that, I went to Schleswig-Holstein for their regional elections. No, I didn't. I went to Niedersachsen.
Yes.
I went to Niedersachsen for their elections.
Almost
yeah, it's close. With one other Swedish pirate, and we went home with a list of very practical ideas, from the hand pumps for the balloons to the umbrellas instead of tents. A lot of very practical ideas how to improve our campaigning. And I think everyone traveling to another country will get these kind of ideas. So send your pirates across the border. And I also think that you should see it as an investment, because you have a much more stable organization than your neighbors. So if there's no pirates there, or if there are only one pirate there, you probably have to invest. You will probably have to have 3 people dedicated going there once a month for a meeting with that lone pirate until he managed to recruit more people. But when he managed to recruit more people, he will come back with 10 pirates to you during the elections. So it's a wise investment. And you will also be able to easily spread your political work to other countries. If you have those contacts, they will follow you on Twitter. When you tweet about your work in the parliament, they will retweet it. They will make a blog post in Dutch about it, and you will get a bigger impact.
Yeah,
I was
please.
wondering that Icelandic pirates are writing their own voting system, Vasail. The Icelandic pirates, Piratar in Iceland, we tried using liquid democracy, but we stopped using it and wrote our own system, Vasail. Have you heard of it and looked at it?
Yeah, not yet. I've been in Reykjavik in
IT freaks.
Grumpy should know it.
Yeah.
But he didn't tell me about that.
No, like Smári and one other guy just wrote a new system, and evidently it's still quite buggy. So it would be nice if you could look at it, and if you like it, you could help us write it. And if you dislike it, you will tell us why, and we stop doing it and use your system instead.
Okay.
Great tool discussion.
No, I got the head on.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks for this.
Just get in touch with this guy then.
We will have an eye on it for sure.
We have not only the federal election in Germany in autumn, but also a week before is the state election of Bavaria, together with some kind of communal election, so-called Bezirksversammlung. That means Bavaria is divided up in 5 regions, larger regions, and yeah, what are you interrupting me for? It's divided up in 5 regions, and these elections for this regional parliaments will take place together with the state election 1 week before the federal election, and together with the federal election 1 week later, in 22nd of September, there will be a state election in the state of Hessen too. So we really have 4 elections in 2 weeks in Germany in late of September. That was it.
Yeah. Okay. So many elections going on, or will happen this year and also next year. So a lot of work to do.
Is there any year in Germany when you don't have a lot of elections?
2007 we had just one.
Okay. That's the problem within a federal states. So
Yes.
you have always election on some levels, in some parts of the country. Okay, he is passed already away. So, anyone awake and has further questions for us?
Go on, rather unpleasant, but I think important to answer. The German Pirate Party went pretty well, but the results in the polls dropped recently.
Nico.
Very plummeted. Why?
Yeah, important question. I think Joachim likes to answer.
I'm not responsible for that, but I think I will place an interesting remark. There was a hype all around the media in Germany about the pirates, and then we entered Berlin, and shortly after that we entered Saarland and we entered Schleswig-Holstein, and then the biggest parliament besides the Bundestag in North Rhine-Westphalia. And then people becoming fear about the system in Germany of the 4 or 5 parties in the Bundestag, the Christian Democrats, the Social Democrats, the Free Liberals, and the left ones, and the Greens, shifted and might move towards pirates. Together with another thing which I unfortunately have to say we have to cover on their own. We have delivered in Germany a few debates on personal things about the pirates, which help the media to write us down. These two things together, the fear of the system changing and our own faults, failures, produce now statistics that don't speak for us. But on the other hand, at the moment we have a very straight ball, and we have to make it inside. You have to make a goal, and that's prism and tempera. And I think we can increase our statistics a bit towards the election in Bundestag. But the thing is rather critical. Daniel.
One more point. When we entered Berlin, many people set very high expectations in us, even if they actually don't have a clue what the pirates really are, which attracted a lot of people, which very strange ideas coming to us, and it was very difficult to integrate them or the people which you can integrate in the party. And I think they're somewhat disappointed that they did not find that what they expected. So first we were something like a blank sheet where you can interpret everything what you want into. And when I find out that there are some basic rules, what is a pirate party about, they probably are disappointed now. So it's something like it was a hype, but now it turned into the different side. And I think somewhere in the middle there will be the truth.
Okay. I would like to end the discussion right now and go on to the informal part, and we will have some drinks and some snacks and continue the discussion face to face. I think. Yeah.
You want to? Yes, I just realized that there is one thing we should probably say that we are working on the European level. If I can have 2 minutes.
Okay.
So our office has been working with a web page. Basically, there is a project of European Pirates. It's moving extremely slowly, and we're sort of an impatient bunch. So we decided we're going to set up a web page presenting all elected pirates in Europe, on starting with regional and state and EU level, and then eventually adding also municipal and city level. So at some point we will contact you to get information about everyone you have elected, and basically everyone will have a personal profile. So you will see a map. You can click on a state and zoom in, click on lower, and then you will see what pirates are elected there. So all the pirates elected all over Europe are presented on the same page. It will be a very good way of changing contact information, but it will also be a very good way of presenting the European Pirates as one entity. Currently, we're just this is done on a voluntary basis by people we're working with. So if you have people good at mapping, that would be, or maps applications in open formats, that would be very useful for us. But otherwise, this will happen at one point before the EU elections.
Okay. Interesting information. We also have some kind of map showing our pirates, but maybe we can exchange about this topic and make it a broader project with more people involved. So, can we finish here? Okay, wonderful. Thanks for the discussion, and yeah, feel free and have a drink and take a snack. Thank you.
Keine Snacks, report.